What up, Torin?
Cheers. What's up, Austin?
Cheers to you. Cheers to everyone. Ballon Drunk's back after Champions
Yep.
League midweek. That's what I'm talking about.
Lots of games.
We can
Lots of
talk,
games to go through.
yeah, we'll talk Champions League, and then we'll bounce back to the Premier League, get our picks in for the weekend, place our bets, and then talk about any other news that's going on in the soccer world.
Yep. Starting off the show, we got to check in on our red card count
Yes,
from the
we
Champions League. And boy, did we have some red cards in midweek games.
do. Some we will
across-
talk about in a minute, but yeah, let's drink.
Definitely, yeah.
We drink for every red card.
Across match day 4, we had a red card from Antwerp, a red card from Young Boys, a red card from Celtic, a red card from Man United, and a red card from Lens. 5 total red cards.
That's insane. All right. I'll start drinking. You go through. Are there any other pre-episode drinks we need to take care of?
That's it. We didn't make any prop bets on the Champions League, which is something we could think about doing next time,
I
rather
like
than
that.
just the Premier League. That would be fun to look at some of those odds. We've really just been focused on the Premier League with the bets, but
That's true.
that's it to start us. 5 is enough too, so that's
Yeah.
all we need.
And we'll talk about it when we get to them. But 5 minutes into the Newcastle Dortmund match, I was like, man, I wish I would have bet on this match. But anyways, let's start with AC Milan and PSG. We got to start with the group of death.
Yep.
So they were hosting PSG going into it. I actually can't remember, but Milan was at the bottom of the group, but still in it, obviously.
Yes. Yep.
They needed this win. They edge out PSG 2-1. And, well, first of all, were you able to watch this or just catch highlights?
I caught highlights on this one. Yeah, I wasn't able to watch anything live this week. I had a lot going on with work.
It was a good match. I got to watch majority of it, and I was impressed with how AC Milan played. They played so hard. They played like they needed that, and up until the 90th minute, they were all pushing so hard. They were just gassed, absolutely gassed.
Yeah.
And Pulisic came up limping with looked like a hammy pull.
Damn.
But he did walk off under his own power. But it was super late. It's because he and all the other players were just completely expended all their energy and were still pushing to try to get that win. And I think it was just too much. And got an injury.
Yeah,
there.
I saw him making a lot of runs up and down the field without getting the ball. I think I saw in watching the highlights like 5 different runs where he sprinted the whole length of the field and then didn't get the ball at the end, just over and over again.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him. The whole team, I felt like, played super hard. Leao had a really good match. Giroud with the classic Giroud header. Like,
Yep.
he's going to be able to play center forward at a high level for like 5 more years, I feel like. Because he can just, he's so good in the air, and it's not just his positioning, it's also his like desire to head the ball. I feel like a lot of guys just don't even like, not, I don't want to say make the effort, but they don't.
It's just like no fear.
Exactly.
Like, he's just it's just like nobody else. He goes for the ball like there's nobody else there. Like they're just completely blocked out of his mind, which is just really hard for the people to do. I think he's able to block it all out, and it's just him and the ball, whatever the situation, and in the air he's gonna do something magical. Like he just has that. He has that knack.
And he's just got such good control also with this. Like he can guide it anywhere. Yeah, he's so good in the air. He had an awesome header goal. And my other takeaway was that PSG just didn't have a lot of attacking options. Like they couldn't break Milan down. It was like, hey, let's kick it to Mbappe and just hope that he does something. And he almost did a bunch of times. But that was really their only threat, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like in games when Dembele isn't creating, like it isn't an on game for Dembele, they really do struggle. Like when he's on, he's able to attack, one half of the field, throw defenders off, create mismatches. That they have the right players there, like Kolo Muani and other guys, right, to finish and score. But if he's not on, they really don't have a lot of other creative options. Like they don't have that great creative linking player between midfield and attack. I feel like they have good players, but they're kind of missing that piece. I feel like in games like this where like the other team's played super hard, you got to find a way to create against a tough defense. Yeah. It seems like they struggle. They're relying way too much on Mbappe just creating on his own.
Yeah, they're just not the same team they were last year or any of the years before this. Since Mbappe's been there, it didn't feel like it. So huge win for AC Milan. The other end of the group, Newcastle had to go to the yellow wall and play Borussia Dortmund. And like I said, 5 minutes into this match, I was just like, man, I should have bet on Dortmund because Newcastle did not stand a chance. It was just, it wasn't, it was a weakened Newcastle side. Yeah. There's just so many guys. They rested Almiron and Anthony Gordon. They didn't play the first half. And then you already have Isak out. Tonali, we already know, is out. Who else is out? There was another Burns out.
Yeah, Burns hurt, and Dummett is back up, so they're playing basically their third string left back.
Yeah, it just was not the same Newcastle team, and they still had chances. They still hung in there. Could have stolen a point if they finished a little better, but it just wasn't the same Newcastle side as the rest of the competition.
It felt a lot like a Newcastle team that was like, oh, we're lucky that we made it into the Champions League, but we're not at that level. That's what it felt like in this game. It felt different, and like you said, there were certain players that were out. Maybe the moment got to them playing in a place like Dortmund with that sort of atmosphere, but whatever it was, it felt different. Like it felt like they were really against competition that they weren't at the same level of and that they were having to play a different style.
Yeah, I felt like it was more of that they don't have the depth of a bigger club to compete really, really well in the Premier League on the weekend and then jump into the Champions League and compete at a high level when they have injuries going or all that. So it's just a little tough. At full strength, I think it would have been a different match.
It's a good point because they're still early on this journey of going from the Newcastle that they were to a quote unquote power club, right? This is what, year 2, maybe 3, 2.5, 3, right? And so they've started to build this team, right? That's got more and more depth, bringing in more and more players. But you can see they're not as established as some of these other legacy clubs. So it's a good point you brought up, right? They still need to continue adding in the right places, over the next year or two to really get up to those levels that we see of these other teams that are used to playing all these games, used to going far in the FA Cup, used to going far in Europe, used to competing in the Premier League, right? It really does take a different type of squad.
Yeah. I will say I wasn't super impressed with Dortmund, though. I felt like it wasn't lucky is too strong of a word. It wasn't lucky. They deserved to win that match, but it wasn't a beatdown. It wasn't total annihilation. I felt like they kind of looked sluggish is the wrong word, but they didn't look extremely dangerous going forward. Their first goal was kind of sloppy one, kind of lucky. Broke the right way for them with a good finish at the end of it. But I don't know. I still think any of these teams can go home and any of these teams can advance in this group, which is crazy. Still at this point.
I feel like it's still like that.
Yeah.
Coming out of this match day's games, you would feel like PSG and AC Milan are the strongest just from what you saw. But this is totally up in the air with these, any given week and day. Any of these teams could be the best of the 4 if things break the right way. So it's still going to be very fun to watch.
These are the standings in points in Group F. Okay. 7, 6, 5, 4. Dortmund is currently on top. 7. Okay. PSG 1 point behind them. AC Milan 1 point behind them. Newcastle 1 point behind them. So it's still anyone's game. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I think this group might be the only group that'll go into match day 6 with all to play for.
Yeah. Yeah, the very like we may have top spot locked up, but there's definitely going to be something to play for in that last day. And hopefully every team's still in play, which would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Every team in this group has lost at least one match.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. Like you never see that. Like you're looking at these other groups, and I don't think there's only one other group that has every team with a loss. So yeah, it's a rare thing to see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, this one. Oh man. I watched this one. I watched this game. And I just want to say Manchester United is the game we're talking about. Yeah. Manchester United went to Copenhagen.
On the road. Mm-hmm.
They were absolutely dominating this match. They were clearly the better team. It was after 10 minutes of play, you were like, Man U is winning this game. There's no chance for Copenhagen. They scored 2 goals in like the first 25 minutes or something like that. And then Rashford gets this red card called on him that was not called. It wasn't called a foul on the field. And the ref was like 5 feet away. Was not called a foul. Then VAR comes in. He changes his call from no call to a red card. It was one of the most egregious errors of a red card. Like, absolutely hosed for Man United. Like, I'm not a Man United fan, and I felt so bad after this that I was rooting for Man United to win this match. Because I was like, they got absolutely screwed. It was such a terrible call. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like
completely unintentional and not even that bad or violent of a stomp, really. I mean, you could just tell watching Rashford laugh about it as he's getting sent off. It was just like a joke.
And if you watch, like, no one, like I said, the ref didn't call a foul. 1. None of the players complained from the Copenhagen side. 2. And neither did the crowd. Like, no one in the entire stadium thought it was a foul, and then it got turned into a red card. So stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, he caught him when trying to, like, shield him away from the ball, but that's not a red card. It shouldn't be a red card. Like, why do you even have a yellow card? I don't know. I don't get it. A straight red.
Yeah, to jump to a straight red is absolutely nuts. It's just crazy. It's
like,
I don't
changes
get it,
need to be made, not at the end of this season, right now.
But that's the difficulty is, now we're talking about Champions League. So much we've been talking about Premier League, and then there's Champions League, but I feel like there's all these different probably like reffing bodies that are involved, right? So how do you change all of this for the better in one fell swoop? I don't know how that's going to happen.
Well, they seem like they all got on the same page to call it like it is now. They're all calling like anything that's cleat contact with any part of the body. It's like, hey, they all got on the same page pretty quickly on that. Stop doing that. It's bullshit. Like, there should be, if they have this like squad of VAR officials, they should have one ex-player that had to have played in like the last 5 years, let's say, and just be like, hey, what do you think? Just final call on you. And if that guy's like, no, that's not a foul, this is bullshit, like, just have like something, like some sort of common sense needs to come into play.
It's really hard because there's probably just as many complaints about VAR taking too long, and that VAR itself, like, there's so many, like, I feel like no matter what you do to try to make it better, it's going to piss somebody else off, right? Like, I just don't feel like there's like an obvious solution to try and get to the right answers and get to them quickly. Like, because like what you're saying sounds great, but that's just going to make VAR take even longer. Right. So it's like,
and that's not what I want. We need less VAR. We need less VAR. So
it's so tough because once you've taken this step into the realm of VAR, you can't go back. Like, you can't go back to where terrible calls can't be overturned. Like, it just wouldn't be accepted. So we're in this land now of VAR, and we got to find a way to make do with it. We got to find the best way to do it, but there's no going back to no VAR at this point.
They should have. This is what happened with American football when they introduced replay. It just got too much. It's already there in the NBA. It's too much. I think they need to pull it back in soccer and be like goal scoring opportunities, like crossing the line, like the offsides, ball crossing the line, and goal scoring opportunities with like a handball, and like that's it.
Yeah.
Then just do calls on the field for fouls and stuff.
Yeah, like if that foul had been called as a yellow, okay, maybe you're allowed to review it to make sure it wasn't more than a yellow. But if like it wasn't even called on the field,
exactly,
or it's like, somebody throws a soft elbow in the corner of the field while the ball's on the other side, and they stop the game and review that, just like have it be actually coming from the game, what's happening in the game, where the ball is, right? And have that drive whether or not there's review. All this other frivolous stuff, like, just get rid of it.
It's
man.
So bad, dude. It's bad. Like, there was no intent from Rashford. None.
Yeah, none at all.
And it cost him 3 points. It was a close and like actually really exciting match after it was 10 v 11.
Yeah, it was like kind of even
because it evened out. Yeah, it was like, okay, now the teams are equal. And friggin' Copenhagen ends up with 3 points. And now I'm rooting for Man United, which I never thought would ever happen in my lifetime. So, yeah, Copenhagen gets a gift. So here's the standings in the group. Bayern beat Galatasaray. We can talk about that game next. But they have this group locked up at 12 points. Second place currently is Copenhagen with 4, Galatasaray with 4, and then Man United 3. So they're not out of it in any way.
Yeah,
but
they'll need some help though, because they've already played Galatasaray twice, I think.
I don't know.
I forget who
they
do
played, have Bayern coming up though.
Yeah, so I think they're probably gonna need some help, I think, but they could still do it. If the results go their way.
No, I think they have Galatasaray and Bayern one more time each. I think that's what it is. But they have to go to Turkey, I believe.
Yeah.
Either way, they still have a shot, but they got robbed. They got robbed at 3 points. They should be second in that group. It does.
When you're already down and you're just getting kicked in the dirt, it hurts, man.
This is like the anti-United, by the way. Like, usually they get all the breaks going their way, and this year it's just like they're shooting themselves in the foot, and like you said, and they're getting bad luck on top of it.
That was been like my point, like this whole year about Man U. I was like, you know what? They might be sucking, but things always break their way, and it's literally the exact opposite of what I've been saying this whole season. That's actually happening. I'm just like, damn, dude.
Absolutely crazy.
It's gotta hurt.
So yeah, the other end of that group is Bayern, Galatasaray, and Bayern played them in Turkey. It was a pretty competitive match. Two late goals by Bayern to go up, and then Galatasaray got one in like stoppage time, but it really didn't affect the outcome. But they had their chances in the first half, and they had some good chances. I feel like Icardi should have finished one of them that he missed. And some other guy, I forget his name.
Turkish guy, Artoglu or something.
Oh, man, he had a good one.
He's had a couple now I've seen in the Champions League that he should have scored. It's like, oh, God, it's got to hurt.
No, man, it's got to sting. But they're still in it as well. Tied in second right now, so easily another fun group that we'll probably have to wait until match day 6 to find out who's going through in the second spot.
Exactly. I mean, this is going to be exciting all the way through because it'll be interesting to see what Bayern does. So Bayern's locked it up already, right? They've locked up not just advancing, but first place. So, like, what are they going to do, when it comes to these games? Are they going to play a weaker squad? Who knows? So
their weaker squad is still so good, though. Like,
seriously, I know. They go and play their weaker squad against Copenhagen, it's still going to be better than Copenhagen. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting though to see how they approach that, because it'll have major implications for the other three teams qualifying.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Okay, so the other big clubs, Man City, Atletico, Arsenal, Real Madrid, they all have easy victories. I actually did watch the Arsenal-Sevilla match,
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped watching in the second half because I was I was at work. I had it on my other screen, and I was just like, dude, this is not fair. Like Arsenal is by far, but like Sevilla's not even in the same ball. Like
seriously,
baseball reference, but it's like JV and varsity playing each other. It was not close. I think the score was only like 2-0 it ended up, but it was never in doubt. It was crazy. I was surprised at how bad Sevilla looked, and then I found out that they're like 15th or something in the Spanish league.
Mm.
Yeah, they're 15th in the standings in La Liga.
Struggling this year.
Damn, it shows. It shows that they belong in the 15th spot because they did not look good. What happened to Sevilla?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously I haven't been watching it all, but I know it's coming off winning the Europa League and
Europa League champs.
I know. So either really is that much of a skill gap and divide between some of these teams, or they've just really fallen off this year. But I did want to shout out in the game for your annual Havertz reference. I don't know if you saw the glorious header opportunity he had that he just completely whiffed on and hit wide of the goal.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, God, he should have scored so bad, and he just hit it like 5 feet wide of the goal.
Oh,
it was like,
no.
oh, man. Dude.
He's actually, like, that's one of his strong suits is, like, in the air. He's not bad. Well, he had one point where he made a nice, like, cut inside. He was, like, kind of, like, top of the box.
Yeah.
He, like, cut inside and had, like, ripped a left-footed shot, and it was just, like, maybe a yard or two wide.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good effort.
Yeah.
And even the announcers called it out, like, "Oh wow, good! That was good effort by him." Like all surprised, like that's what you got to do. That's what, like we were all, and even myself was
Everyone's
like, okay, that was good. That was good. That's what you're supposed to do. Like it's sad that it's gotten to that point where like a close effort, you're like, oh, that was Havertz. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can play. All right.
It's
like,
so bad.
It's bad.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, they were just like, when you have the confidence, you got to take those shots and like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's sad that like his high point is that.
Yeah, seriously. Like that was like his highlight of the season. It's like missing a goal by 2 feet.
Oh, man. And he's just been trashed on so much that like even the announcers are like, good for you. Good for you on trying. Like that was close. Yeah. Like,
We do need to give him his props though, because at least he's actually starting games and playing, unlike Mason Mount, who made a huge money move to Man United. It's not even starting games. It's pretty crazy, man.
Well, I don't think Havertz should be starting, but that's just me.
But he is.
So. But he is, yeah. I mean, yeah. Mason Mount, I feel like that was the perfect game for him to come in with when it's down 10 to 11, because what Mason Mount does do is he hustles and he plays defense and he'll work that midfield. So like you need a guy like that when you're down a man. So he did come in, but yeah, you're right. He's not even.
Yeah, so I think that was all the big games. So we could check in on the table for the other groups that we didn't mention. So Arsenal's group, we were just talking about Group B. They're currently in the lead with 9 points. They have PSV and Lens tied behind them on 5, and then Sevilla all the way down in the bottom with 2 points. So pretty comfortable spot for Arsenal, but I don't think it's definitely not done and sealed yet. So they're going to have to keep playing at least in Matchday 5. And PSV and Lens are going to be battling it out to try and get that second spot. Group C, we got Real Madrid in first with 12 points. Perfect record so far in the Champions League. Napoli with 7 points in second. Braga with 3, and then Union Berlin in last place with 1 point.
They got their first point though. They tied.
They
Napoli.
did. They got the tie, right?
got their
That was
first
against
one.
Napoli too, right?
Yeah.
So
But
it's a pretty good point.
That one's sealed up as well.
Yeah, it's sad. It sucks. But Napoli and Real Madrid looking comfortable there. Group D, we got Real Sociedad and Inter now tied, 10 points apiece, and then Salzburg and Benfica pretty much out of it. Actually, completely out of it now at this point in third and fourth place with 3 and 0 points. Group E, Atletico Madrid, 8 points in first, just ahead of Lazio with 7. And then we got Feyenoord right behind Lazio with 6. So another tight group that's going to continue to show some fireworks down the stretch. Then Celtic in last with 1. We talked about Group F, the group of death already. Group G, Man City, 4-0, 4-0-0, 12 points in first place. Leipzig in second with 9, and Red Star and Young Boys out of it in third and fourth. So that group is pretty much locked up. And then last but not least, Group H, we got Barcelona and Porto tied now in first with 9 points, and then Shakhtar right behind with 6. And then Antwerp, the only team, actually no, Benfica also still has 0 points. Benfica and Antwerp,
Dude,
0 points in 4 days.
I didn't want to cut you off, but I actually tuned into the Real Sociedad Benfica match. I was like, oh, let's see. I want to see how good Real Sociedad is and how bad Benfica is. I turned it on, and Real Sociedad literally just missed a penalty kick. So I was like, oh, damn, that could be huge.
Yeah.
It was the 30th minute, and then they showed the score after the highlight of him missing, and it was 3-0 Real Sociedad. And I was like, oh my God, that was for 4-0 that he missed that?
Wow.
Oh my God, I just switched it to another game after that. I was like, no way. Dude, I can't believe Benfica. It's crazy.
Yeah, they lost 3-1. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That was their wow. So they lost 3-1.
Dude, it was in the first 30 minutes.
That was their first goal they've scored in all 4 games. They have 1 goal scored in the Champions League. Damn.
Crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah, they're the only team that's only scored 1 goal. That's nuts. Yeah, so really, really poor showing from Benfica. It sucks, man.
Oh, we didn't.
They looked so good last year.
I know. That's why I obviously don't pay attention to them unless they're in the Champions League, which they always are. But I only watch Champions League when they're in it, so I don't know what's going on with them. I do want to shout out Shakhtar Donetsk for a big win over Barcelona.
That's right. Yeah.
They're still alive in that group. They're only 3 points behind Barcelona and who's the other one in that group? Porto?
Porto. Yeah.
Yeah,
Porto and Barca tied.
That was huge. And I will say, watching those highlights, it looked like Barcelona was just so fucking cold that they just did not want to be there. It was like a night game, and it looked just like they didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? I can't make that claim because
Lewandowski just not trying to pull every muscle in his body, probably. Just
dude, everyone's got gloves on. I'm like, these guys play in Spain. It's a night game in fucking
when they do
Ukraine.
They do that thing where they have the long sleeves and it's over their wrist onto their hand. That.
They just they have so many soft ass looking players that I feel like João Cancelo just couldn't be able to hang in what's his name, João Felix, all these guys I don't know. I think I might be just projecting, but it just was my theory.
You felt cold cuddled up in your blanket on the couch when you were watching that.
I did. It looked cold. Seeing the cheeks all red of the players and stuff.
It's Shakhtar just in their element.
Yeah.
Just ready, born and ready for this moment. Bring it on, dude.
Dude, they could play in shirtless and be fine.
Yeah. It's great.
So yeah, huge win for them. So I just want to give them a shout out.
Yeah, man.
All right, so those are the tables. There anything else, Champions League, you want to talk about, or
we could just let's just quickly look at the next batch of matches. So the games pick up on the 28th. We'll be back. So we've got. Let's see here. Any big game? We got Barcelona against Porto, tied for first. Milan against Dortmund. PSG against Newcastle. Man City against Leipzig. So some spicy matchups. Feyenoord against Atletico, with Feyenoord fighting for their lives. So
dude, I like that. I think Feyenoord wins that. And I don't know if you remember, but Porto should have won that first leg against Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that one goal they gave up.
One chance, and Barcelona scored it, and then Porto screwed up on all their chances. Like, they should have won that match. So, it's definitely... I feel like they're going to come ready for this one.
Yeah, it looks like a fun one.
And then Newcastle goes to PSG. That's not going to be easy. And then AC Milan is hosting Dortmund.
Yeah, so group of death, still on fire.
Awesome stuff.
All right, you want to get into EPL Matchweek 12?
Let's get back into the Premier League, baby.
All right.
Premier League Matchweek 12. Let's go through our picks, and then we'll look at the odds. I have not looked at the odds yet, so...
Yeah, me neither.
Let's get to it. First match of the week. Wolves hosting Tottenham. Tottenham... not at full strength, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm still picking them to win.
Yeah.
I think they have enough to win, even on the road, even without major players. We're going to get a lot of Eric Dyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't even know who else is going to play back there.
Probably Ben Davies or something, Like, it'll be sub combination of those guys. So
I still think with the way they play and who they have, they should still win. So I went 2-1 Tottenham.
Okay, I went 3-1 Tottenham. So I think they'll be a little shaky at the back, like you said, but I still think even with a few injuries, their offense is just explosive. And obviously they just couldn't show it last game being down. But even then, down 2 guys, they were still creating chances. So
I know.
I like them, firing back after what happened last game.
And Wolves is missing their best player. They're really strong at home, but Tottenham should still win this match.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Arsenal at home for Burnley. I have a feeling you picked the same as me. What'd you go with?
Arsenal 3-0.
Yep.
They're going to be heated after last game and just going to come out firing in this one. Burnley's just going to be a helpless bystander.
Let me ask you this. Is there... Maybe there's one team. Is there any other team that's not in relegation that you would pick Burnley to get a point off of?
Not in relegation?
Yeah, like basically not Luton Town or Sheffield. Is there any other team? Maybe Bournemouth?
Yeah, I could see him getting a draw with Bournemouth, a draw tongue with Nottingham.
Oh, how dare you? You bite your
tongue. I don't
tongue.
know. Burnley at home. I mean, Burnley at home used to be impenetrable. Like, I remember before they got relegated, there was a stretch there where they didn't lose at home for almost an entire season. Like, it was always at least a draw when they were at home. I just feel like at home they've got a chance against a decent number of teams to get a point, but on the road they're going to struggle.
Yeah, it's for any of the teams coming up from the championship. I'm just not picking them ever to win a match.
Yeah,
Speaking,
not happening.
Oh no, next one. Crystal Palace at home for Everton. Everton's been killing me. Every time I go with, they do the opposite of what I think they're going to do. So I have to go with my first love, and that's Crystal Palace at home. 1-0 win.
All right. I went 1-1 draw. I think this is going to be one of those just Crystal Palace, Everton, duke it out.
Totally.
We both need to get a point. It's just going to be a brutal game, I feel like. And it's going to end up, there's going to be one Calvert-Lewin header and a deflected IU shot and 1-1 draw.
I feel like this is going to be a highlight reel that's 5 minutes long. It's
yeah. You go to watch the highlights, and it's definitely going to be one of those that's sub 10 minutes when you go to check the highlights.
For sure.
It's going to be 32. That's pretty short highlights.
It's going to be 3 minutes of the lineup card. And
then
then
half of it's going to be the lineup.
All of a sudden, it'll be one highlight in the 42nd minute, and then all of a sudden you'll look up and it'll be like, "Oh shit, we're already in the 87th. What's going on?" Yeah, and then it's over. Yeah,
It's just,
exactly. I could
we
easily
already
see
know.
a 0-0 on this one, but
We already know what we're gonna see there. Love
for
it.
sure. Oh my god, yeah. Whatever the over under is, I think under is the way to go for that one.
I want to see what it
Just
is.
we'll
Yeah,
just flag that for later.
love it.
As you look that up, next one, Man United hosting Luton Town. This is a nice one to fall back on if you're Man United.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about get
Sorry,
right.
sorry, Luton Town, but
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of stress and anxiety taken out on you.
Bad time to catch United. I'm going 3-0 United. I
Three
think they
zero,
get this one right.
3-0 United. Yep.
Yeah. Bournemouth hosting Newcastle. I mentioned it before. I'm not picking Bournemouth or any of the promoted teams. Newcastle 2-0 on the road for me.
2-1 for me. I know they have some injuries at the back, and not at full strength. They've had Botman out. Now they have issues with left back, so I think they're a little bit leakier than they once were. But I still think they're going to be too much, even with their injuries.
Agreed. Villa hosting Fulham. What'd you go with?
I got Aston Villa 2-1 at home with the victory. They've been playing really well lately. They won again in the Europa League today. They're on one of those streaks, but this is where they just always, they're on these streaks, and then all of a sudden they just revert back. So I'm scared it's going to be this week, but I feel like Fulham's a team they can, even with a little bit of reversion, they can still pull out the win.
Yeah, I think you'll be safe with them against Fulham, and the fact that they're at home, they're a much stronger team.
Yeah.
I just, it hurts me to say this, but I just don't have faith in Fulham to pull off an upset. I think they can beat teams that are equal or obviously lesser than them, but they can't win up to me. Like they can't shock a Man City or a Liverpool. I just don't see it happening. And I think Villa's playing at that level right now to where I don't think Fulham's going to be able to hang with them.
They don't have a game breaker, and they had Mitrovic who could score with scraps last year, and they just don't have that on the team this year. So they can still play solid and play, like you said, play good against equal or lower competition. But you got to have some sort of game breaker if you want a chance against bigger teams, right? You got to have somebody that can just make something happen, and then have a team that can just batten down the hatches the rest of the time. But they're just lacking that this year. It's not coming together on that front.
Yeah. So I don't know if I said my score. I went 3-0 Villa.
3-0, okay.
Yeah.
Big win.
It hurts me to say that, but yes. So,
yeah.
Speaking of 3-0, that's what I have for this next one. Brighton at home for Sheffield. Brighton's been struggling for Brighton standards, but Sheffield's the ultimate salve for a team that's struggling. So, at home against Sheffield, I feel like this is a big dub for Brighton.
I went 4-0. I'm right there
you
with
went
you.
even bigger, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is Brighton get right and get back to where they were. They looked good again in Europa League. They played Ajax, and they were just destroying them. So I think they're great opportunity for them to get back right in the Premier League.
God, I love Brighton, dude. They're so awesome. This is my match of the week.
Yeah.
Liverpool at home for Brentford. I gave Brentford a shot at this one. I did. I went Liverpool 3-2.
Ooh, big score. I like that. I gave them more than a shot in this game. I gave it 2-2.
Whoa! Win with the draw. Let's go.
Brentford on the road, edging one out against Liverpool.
Hey, I don't think it's a bad bet. Like,
they're coming off 3 wins in a row. Liverpool's coming off of a draw against a much weaker team. I think that there's a shot here, a chance for Brighton to pounce in there and get something.
I think I would agree with you if it wasn't at Anfield.
Okay.
But Anfield's a tough place to play, man. And Liverpool is a different animal there. I think Brentford's going to give them trouble, but they come out on top. But I would not be shocked if they get a draw, like you said. It's I like it. I like that you went that way.
I know. I think this is one of those sort of opportunities that crop up in the season where I think it's It's not perfect, like you said. There could be even better conditions that stack it this way, but I still think it's a good shot for them.
Either way, this is going to be the antithesis of Crystal Palace
Yeah.
and and Everton. This is going to be a really fun game to watch, and I am excited to enjoy this one.
We should find out what time the Everton Crystal Palace game is and watch it live together, just to soak in the glory.
Yeah, that would just be painful. I'm not going to waste that 90 minutes. If I'm going to have 90 minutes to watch a soccer game, it's not going to be that one. I'll tell you that.
You're not going to wake up at 7 a.m. on Saturday to do that.
Oh, I'll be up at 7 a.m. on Saturday, but I won't be watching that match. I'll tell you that. Next up,
you'll be watching Wally for the 47th time instead.
Watched that last night actually. Eva. Great movie. West Ham hosting Nottingham Forest. I think this is going to be a real battle too. I struggle with this one.
West Ham in a slump. Yeah,
they are in a slump, and Nottingham Forest is just like the team you don't want to be in a slump against. Like, I wanted to pick a draw, I really did, but I still have faith that West Ham is better than their last few results have been. So I went West Ham 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
I think this is West Ham all the way back in this game. I think they snap out of the slump. I went 3-1.
Okay.
They're just too good, man. They just can't keep on this. They're too good to be on this path for this long. So I think this is the get right game.
Kudus, Ballon.
Ballin', dude, and trying so hard. So they played in the Europa. What was it? Conference League today or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying so hard in like the 89th minute. He's just awesome, man. Like, he just gives it everything. It's great, and he's good.
To pair him with Bowen is a pretty sick 1-2 right there.
Mm-hmm.
If Mikel Antonio can do anything, I feel
they
he's
started
the real question mark.
So in this European game today, they actually started Kudus and Bowen up top as like a paired striker group.
Oh, did they
with
really?
Antonio on the bench? Yeah. So it was pretty interesting move. I liked it.
I don't hate that. That parallels exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
I like those two guys. Antonio's the weak spot.
Yeah.
It's like Antonio has these moments.
It's going to depend who they're playing.
Right.
He's a big body. He can hold up the ball. If they're super physical backs, he's who guy you want in there, right? I want him in those. But if you're trying to play with speed and create, so now they have different styles they can play, which is cool.
Yeah.
But they just got to make sure they're playing the right one for the right game.
Wait, what was the score you had for that?
3-1.
3-1. Okay. Final match of the weekend: Chelsea hosting Man City. I am very curious what the line is for this match, because I don't think Chelsea should have a shot. I think this is going to be Man City rolling, even though it's on the road. Chelsea 0, Man City 2 for me.
I went 3-1 Man City, so same score differentials, different score. Man City is at -140 for the win. Chelsea at +380 for the win. So maybe a little bit tighter than you're thinking.
Give me Man City all day,
okay.
every day. Oh my God, yes. To get Man City under -200.
Yeah.
Sign me up. How is Chelsea going to score against Man City? That's my question. Man City's got the best defense in the league, and Nicholas Jackson could barely score against 9 guys. That's the only way you could do it. I just don't see, maybe a Sterling dive in the box gets a lucky call or something.
Uh-huh.
I just don't. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think that can help Chelsea here is the false sense of confidence that coming off of winning against 9 guys gives you. That's the only thing I see that could maybe bring a different mentality here. But it's Man City's just going to be too much.
They do have Reece James back, so that obviously helps.
Yeah,
they're a different team with Reece James, that's for sure.
They're a different team, but it's still, when your problem is scoring, and finishing. I feel like he creates a good amount, but he's not a finisher, right? He doesn't score a lot.
He's a wingback.
Yeah, so it still doesn't solve all their problems. So great piece to have back, and kind of a leader to have back too. But um, I don't think it's not enough.
So we were pretty in sync on those picks. I think we
Yeah,
differed a little bit. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so should we go straight into our bets, or do you want to do news first and then jump back to bets?
We can do bets at the end if you want. That's fine.
Okay. All right, let's get into
Yeah,
news and then we'll close the show with some
yeah.
bets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is your news bullet. Hit me with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talked about it on what was that, Monday or Tuesday, whenever we last talked about the games from the past weekend and how there was once again controversial calls. So during the week, there were some official reviews that were completed. One of the big ones we talked about was the Arsenal Newcastle game. Arsenal was pissed. You talked about how heated Arteta was. And after the official review, they actually came back and said it was a good call. The goal should have stood. Just like you said, I believe you said when we were talking, right? It was some contact, but not enough to warrant calling off a goal.
Yeah.
And the refs agreed. The board of refs, whoever, I don't know who was on the board, but they agreed. On the opposite end, though, we talked about how there was a legitimate last-second penalty in the Sheffield Wolves game where Fabio Silva was called for a foul in the box with like the 7th minute of injury time. And they actually came back and said that should not have been overturned. There was not enough contact or enough of an egregious miscall to actually overturn that and give them a penalty. So it should have ended in a draw. Kind of interesting take. So it wasn't, even though the biggest call of the week was actually upheld, there was still another call that was incorrect and another mark against the refs this season.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's every week. It's every week.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Once a week now. Easy. And even when, like, just like the Arsenal Newcastle one, right? Even though now it comes out and it's like, no, that was the right call. It doesn't matter. Like, the damage of the optics and the fans of those teams that think they were cheated are just, they're going to hold a grudge, man. It doesn't matter what's said now.
Speaking of Arteta and VAR, I saw a hilarious post that someone cut a video of Arteta's news conference after what was the match? It was some match early in the season where VAR was in.
Oh, the Liverpool game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, and then so it was like that video up top, and then the video right below it was his reaction after the Newcastle match. And the first one is like, oh, VAR, we gotta like be comfortable with it, and things are gonna happen, but we just gotta like whatever. It was all positive, and then it was just his angered one against Newcastle. It was so funny, just going against everything he said in the previous.
So good. This is what we're in, man. We're gonna see this from every single coach, from every single team. It's just
so funny.
That's great. I love it.
It's not a big deal until it happens to you.
Yeah. So some other news around. So Valverde on Real Madrid officially signed a contract extension. So he's signed with Real through 2029 now. So
it wasn't there like
big
a
signing,
$1 billion transfer fee or something stupid like that.
Is it? I didn't actually see any of the details of the contract.
I mean, I just saw it on social, so it might not be official, but it was some stupid like transfer fee that was just insane. Like clearly, like this guy's not available,
Yeah.
But yeah, good for him. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And then some other news. I think it was like today, yesterday, and tomorrow that the international rosters are coming out for the next break. So there's a couple games for the England squad coming up, and supposedly Reece James pulled himself out of the English squad for this next break in order to try and continue to recover and stay healthy, right, and get back with his fitness. But either to the media or I'm not exactly sure where, but Southgate basically came out and said, like, I'm okay with him, making that decision, but he's like, if you don't play, it means you may be in jeopardy for making the team next year when we're talking about the Euros. So kind of firing some shots under the radar towards Reece James without actually firing shots in a very sort of backhanded way. But I think it's the right call. He's got to get healthy.
Yeah, like what is Southgate's like motive on that? Is it to cover his ass? Is it to like
It may be. You know what?
prepare
You may be
people
right.
for like him not picking Reece James later? Or,
I
like,
mean, it's
like
the
why
same thing we
say
have with the
that?
World
Like
Cup,
that is
right?
so unnecessary. I feel like.
But it's the same thing we have with the World Cup, right? He was able to dodge that because of the injuries that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we get to next summer and there's 4 right backs that need to be that should be on the team or are up for being on the team, he's gonna have to make a really hard decision. We know he should pick Reece James, but he might be, like you said, laying the framework for giving himself an out when he gets to next year.
I don't envy his position, Southgate,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a tough gig. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of players to choose from. But I feel like he's a clown show. I don't know.
He's so British, man.
I disagree with a lot of things that he does from a coaching perspective. Not that I'm fucking,
Yeah, I mean,
Jurgen
he was a
Klopp
player
over
on the
here,
English
but
team, so like I give him props for that. But he just kind of the way he carries himself, it's just so British and like I don't know. It
you're
doesn't
saying
give
British
me
like
confidence.
it's such a derogatory thing.
But I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me somebody that looks more British than that fool wearing a sweater vest on the sideline while he's like coaching his team. Like it's like it doesn't give me any sort of confidence when I see him on the sideline. Like it's just
the vest needs to go. That's a bad look.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't like some of the decisions that he makes from a personnel perspective, from a tactical perspective. I just feel like there's so much. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Triple G and Greg Berhalter in the U.S. to where like now Berhalter doesn't have a choice. Like he has to play the guys that we have because they're so much better.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like England could play such a more exciting style of soccer because they have the players for it. But I feel like Southgate is like suffocating that and just wants to be, we're going to be strong and, almost like the old Italian mindset of like defense forward type of thing. And I don't know. I just feel like there's so much potential that I feel like could be unleashed with that England squad.
I know. It's also, I mean, we saw this a little bit. I mean, we're kind of diverging from the convo a little bit, but we saw it a little bit with Tottenham, right? They're kind of handcuffed with the way they play because they have Harry Kane. Like, you have to play a certain style with that type of striker that isn't like a speed counterattack striker.
I disagree.
Not that he's bad.
I disagree, though. Look at Bayern. Like, dude, Sane, Musiala, and Coman, like,
yeah,
those 3 guys that
enough speed to make up for Kane. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think you have to play that way. Is just because you have Harry Kane. Harry Kane's good, dude. He can drop back and play and play well. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like he can be utilized in more than just one way. I think he's that good.
Yeah. No, I think he can too, but when he is your talisman and he is like the players that are kind of around Kane are like they're really good players, but they're like support players, right? Besides Bellingham, I would say, who's really sort of risen to prominence, right? But they're like a Foden or a Grealish, right? These are guys that like create chances for other people, right? They're kind of like support players in my eyes. Where on Bayern, he's got these exciting players that can create and score on their own, right? There's other threats that have that speed. It just creates a different dynamic, I feel like. And I feel like that all comes back a little bit to the style that Southgate plays. Like it's just a more traditional style, I feel like. And he just feels like he has to do it because of the players he has.
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see that Euro lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like, they should
Who's
be a
actually
favorite.
be
They
out
should
there?
be a favorite to win it. I mean, maybe not number 1, but they should be in the mix to win it with the Frances, the Germanys of the world. Like they're at least top 3.
Yeah, no, I think I think we had checked the odds like semi recently. I think they were number 2, but there was like a gap between them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, nice little England convo there. Oh, this made me sad. This next bit of news. Thomas Partey set to miss the rest of the year. I just don't like seeing key players out to injury. It's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see every team at full strength, and I actually think
Yep.
he would be such a better addition to this team than, say, I don't know. Like, if he was next to Declan Rice instead of, like, Jorginho playing every once in a while, like, it'd be so much better. They even put him at right back and left back, like he did well there. I don't know. It would be nice to see at their peak, but bummer. Real bummer.
Yeah. It'll hurt from a depth perspective. Like, I still think they could put out a team just as competitive with them out, but it definitely hurts from the depth perspective, I would say. There's going to be games where they would have wanted him out there to give somebody else a spell, and it may come back to hurt as we get towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this next bit of news is mine, because I don't think you saw this, but we talked about Anthony Taylor, the referee that got demoted for his poor refereeing. Demoted to a lower division. Did you know he's reinstated?
Yeah, I heard he was just demoted for the weekend. One weekend.
So here's the timeline. He got demoted on November 3rd after awarding controversial penalty to in the Wolves Newcastle match. Then November 4th, he awards a questionable penalty in the Coventry match that he got demoted to.
In the championship game?
Yes. It was adjudged to have brought back it was basically like very questionable. I didn't see it, but according to this, there's like a still frame of it, and it looked pretty bad. Questionable penalty, and then November 7th, he is back in the Premier League. So here we go again.
They sent the message, man.
What's the expression? Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, like shame on me.
Fool can't get fooled again.
Can't get fooled again. Yeah. Exactly. I just... Poor Anthony Taylor. Just, can you retire or like go somewhere else for more than 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah. No, I mean, it was purely a cosmetic demotion just to send a message, but you could tell with a situation like this, there was no like, we're going to demote you to see if you can improve before bringing you back. It was just, we're going to demote you for a weekend as a penalty. Get your shit together. They weren't even watching what happened in that game.
Yeah, like, well, what's the point? Just to like kind of like drag your name through the mud? Like,
it's like getting detention, right, at school. It's like, I feel like that's all it was.
Really dumb. Okay, this is per Fabrizio. Richarlison confirms he is set for surgery on long-term issue with his pubic bone. Yeah, I don't know. Jokes lining up already. Richarlison said, quote, "The last few months haven't been easy for me. I've had health problems, and it's time to fix this one. I've already spoken to our doctors, and soon I will do surgery on my pubis. I think it's time to rest." So he's having surgery.
The Tottenham fan website is saying groin injury. So I love how there's different terms flying around.
Yeah, and this says bone, which is weird. I feel like groin makes more sense. But either way, if you're having surgery, that's probably a 2-month injury. I don't know the recovery time on a pubic bone. But we shall see. I mean, it makes sense. He hasn't been playing well. Like,
definitely not.
An injury definitely makes more sense.
You realize. I wonder how often that happens when we see a stretch of a player struggling, right, or just not at the top of their game, but they're not like releasing any sort of like injury news or anything. It makes you think now, because this is a perfect example. There was no news about this. We saw him struggling mightily, to start the season. So it makes you think. It's something to keep in mind in the future, right? When it's like, why is that guy just not at the level he was before? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. All right, this last bit of news I thought was interesting. This is also per Fabrizio. So it says, Premier League clubs are set to vote to introduce temporary ban on incoming loan deals between associated party clubs.
Love it.
The example is Ruben Neves from Al Hilal to Newcastle.
Yep.
So it needs a 40 to 20 club vote to pass the motion in November to ban these type of moves. So 14 out of 20 league owners have to vote on
in the
this.
Premier League. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
To ban this stuff.
How many like super teams are there though? Because they're all going to vote at the Man Cities and the Newcastles and the who else we got?
Yeah, Chelsea.
Arsenal's.
Chelsea's kind of already been linked with all their different transfers to.
There might be
Saudi.
14 teams out there though. There might be enough to make that a reality.
I do think it's a conflict of interest type of situation.
Oh,
to
100%.
Where, yeah, I don't think. I think it needs to be. You can't just loan back and forth. You know, you can't just be like, oh, we don't need him. Send him to our.
It's not that you're loaning; it's that the dollar amounts allow you to skirt the rules. Like
the dollar amounts don't make sense. They're
like another solution for this though would be if there was some sort of independent body, right, that determined transfer or loan value. If you know what I'm saying, like I feel like that's a way.
But that's just impossible to be able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope, but that's the only way that you could potentially get to a solution here. I feel like, but I like this move. I like this idea.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's a smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all the news I had. I did have a quote for you.
Okay.
Which I thought was funny. So, I don't know if you follow any Liverpool accounts, but they're like my favorite.
Instagram free life, man.
It's basically like I find that Liverpool accounts shit on Man United like more than they promote their own team, which is just hilarious. It's like it's more troll jobs than it is like boosting up their own stuff, which is it's just so funny.
Right.
Anyways, so this account posted a back and forth between Steven Gerrard and Robin Van Persie when Van Persie was on Man United.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in 2013. Van Persie said they were yelling at each other on the field, and he said, "Where's your Premier League medal?" And Gerrard said, "I don't have one, but at least I didn't join my rivals to become champion. Where's your Champions League medal, you fucking prick?" Oh my god, I hope that is word for word verbatim what happened.
That's great, dude.
So good, dude. So good. Stevie G, and I love Van Persie, but Stevie G, you're my dog, dude. That's why I fucking love Stevie G.
That's great, dude.
And I love that mentality too. Like, man, fuck that just jumping teams. It happens all the time in soccer, and I feel like it's not frowned upon in any way because it happens so often. But this goes back to why I hate LeBron James. Is like you're not the type of guy that I want to be or I want to be playing with as a teammate. Like, dude, you moved from Cleveland to join your rival Dwayne Wade in the same conference and Chris Bosh from the same conference to make your own team. Like, just soft. Just fucking weak.
He's annoying. I do think in soccer there could be a little bit of difference with like relegation, right? If you're like a servant to a team and you get relegated. I know there's certain situations where guys are like, no, I'm going to stick it out, which I give them props for. But there's other situations where it's like things are dire, right? Like in the case I'm thinking of is like a James Ward-Prowse, like going to Southend, gets relegated. And he makes the move. Like, I'm happy for him. But so I think there could be a little bit of mitigating circumstances.
But when you go from soccer, Arsenal to Man United,
when you go
not
from
quite the same.
Big club to big club, right? It's like, oof, that one hurts, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the fans just want your blood, dude, when you do that.
Yeah, super funny. I love that quote.
Yeah, like Tevez going from United to City, like those ones. It's like, damn, man.
I know, brutal. I wonder if
So
anyone's done it from maybe like a South American player or something that just didn't understand like
yeah,
the gravity of what would happen from moving, and they were like, "Oh, I could make $5 million like going to this club. Sure, okay, yeah." And then they get there and they're just like, "Fuck, I didn't realize."
yeah, I just messed up bad. Oh my god. All right, so I got some stats and trivia for you if you're
Hell
ready.
yeah, yeah, I'm ready. Got
All
my
right.
drink
So
ready.
I have a list in front of me of Premier League seasons since the year 2000. So the last 23 Premier League seasons essentially of teams that were spent the largest percent of the season in first place but did not win the Premier League.
Ooh, okay.
So they were basically winning for the largest percentage of the year, but never actually won in that year. Um, can you guess the team? I'll tell you, it's a recent team in the last 10 years.
Well, first team that comes to mind is Arsenal of last season.
You would be correct.
Yeah.
93% of the season in first place had lost.
Yeah.
That's tough, man.
But you know what's
Number
crazy
2.
is I feel like
Yeah.
everyone saw it coming. And
Mhm. It just felt like it was a year too early for like they were ahead of schedule. We talked about it before, right? It just like they were like ahead of schedule. They shouldn't have been that good last year.
and they were getting points that they shouldn't have been getting
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it just starts to build on itself and you're just like, like they're playing so well, but like they're not that good,
Exactly.
So yeah, I think you're spot on. All right, so there's I wanted to go through the top 3 here. So second place is 71% of the season they were in first and lost, and then third place is 57% of the season and lost. These seasons are both from before 2010, so between 2000 and 2010. So I'm not expecting you
It's
to
so hard to
remember,
remember, yeah.
but I'm wondering if you can guess the team for those two seasons.
I bet you Arsenal's another one because they have gotten close and haven't won so many times. So that would be one of my guesses, but I can't give you the year. I don't know.
You are spot on. Arsenal is second and third. First, second, and third is
Yeah,
Arsenal.
there you go. That's their MO.
2002, 2003, 71% of the season in first, lose. 2007, 2008, 57% of the season in first and lose.
Yeah.
And then honorable mention to Liverpool, that 18-19 season.
Is that the Suarez year?
I think that's the Stevie G slip year. Remember when he slipped and they should have won?
Oh, yeah.
51% of the season they were in first and ended up not winning. So, ouch.
Ouch, yeah.
That one hurts. All right, so I have a stat here from the top 5 leagues. So far this season, the people with the most club and country goal contributions, so either goals or assists, basically. So I'm wondering if you could name the top person here across the top 5 leagues, but also counting international games. I will tell you that they have 30 total goals and assists combined.
Wow. Wait, so this season and like international
Since the start of
matches
this season.
from the start of this season?
Yep. They count. Well, no, it counts club and country both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And assists, so goals and assists.
Yeah, goal contributions. Yep. So this guy's in first place with 30. Second place is all the way back with 22. So he's got an 8 goal and assist gap between second place.
I mean, first one that comes to mind is Harry Kane, but I don't think that's right.
Harry Kane.
All right. Yes. Okay,
You
good.
got it. All right, I'll give you that one. All right, yeah. Second's Erling Haaland with 22, and then you got Jude Bellingham in third with 20.
Wow, he's got 20? Damn.
Yeah, he scored a lot for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
He's been like single-handedly winning games for them, which is pretty nuts. So next stat I have for you isn't a question, but this was interesting. So in the Champions League match with Real Madrid, Rodrigo scored. He scored once or twice, I forget, but he scored again, and he has now scored 17 goals in 43 games for Real Madrid in the Champions League, and he's scored just as many goals, 17 goals, in 120 games in La Liga. So in 3 times as many games in La Liga, he scored the same amount of goals as he has in the Champions League, which is crazy. In the harder competition, he scores at 3 times the rate, which is pretty wild.
That's cool.
All right. And then my last trivia I had for you before we get into bets is I just wanted to do a little fantasy trivia with you at this point in the season. So I don't know what percent of the way we are through, but I have a list in front of me of all the top scorers in fantasy by position: goalie, defender, midfield, forward. And I'm wondering if you can name who you think is the top scorer in each of those 4 positions so far this season.
Goalie's going to be tough. I'm going to say Ederson for goalie.
You would be incorrect. He is, I would say, what is that? 8th. He's 8th.
He doesn't get enough saves, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a lower level goalie, like, I don't know.
I would say there's one lower level and then one higher level goalie that are actually tied.
Alisson?
Alisson is tied for first, yep.
Okay.
Tied with Sam Johnston on Crystal Palace.
Oh, of course. Crystal Palace, they never let goals in.
Right?
Okay.
Defender. Who do you
got? Oh, man. Defender is a tough one for me.
There's a pretty decent gap. It's a 9-point gap between first and second.
Estupinian was killing it until he got hurt. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Which is almost a full... It's almost a full like game's worth of points between first and second.
Matty Cash had a huge week. Trippier? I'm going to go Trippier.
It is Trippier. Good guess.
Nice.
Got it. Yeah, Cash is 7th currently.
Okay.
All right, moving on to midfield.
Oh, yeah, midfield. Okay.
So,
it's got to be Mo Salah. It's got to be Mo Salah.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, some people might think of him as a forward, but he is in first. And second place is Son, 5 points behind him.
See, Son should be a forward. He's playing forward now.
He's playing exactly.
Yeah. Forward it's got to be Haaland. Just got to be.
It is. Yeah. You got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's at 80. Watkins in second at 74, and then it's a huge drop off, and it's actually Alvarez, Haaland's teammate, at third.
On the same team.
That's crazy. First and third strikers.
Yeah, they should update that and change Son to that.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling they don't do much of any work on their fantasy. They don't care about it.
No, they just want people to sign up at the start of the season, and they're like, we got them hooked now. They're not going to stop doing it.
It's really bad.
All right. Into bets.
Bets we go.
And before we do any actual bets, we're doing prop bets, so we don't forget.
Let's start with prop bets.
We'll start with prop bets.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
Prop.
Wow. Okay. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, as you said, sorry. Go ahead. Explain prop bets for us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so going through the prop bet worthy teams where there's an equal to or greater than 100-point difference on the odds for each team winning. First off, we have Wolves hosting Tottenham as a 100-point exactly underdog. Then we have Burnley on the road at Arsenal, plus 1,200. That's going to be a tough one. Everton does not qualify. We have Luton Town on the road at Man United. We have Bournemouth hosting Newcastle. We have Fulham on the road at Aston Villa. Sheffield on the road at Brighton. Brentford on the road at Liverpool. Nottingham on the road at West Ham. And then Chelsea at home against Man City. So almost every game has one of these is underdog worthy. but with very few close odds games.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And you only need a draw to win your underdog bet for our game that we play.
Draw or win, yep.
Oof, I don't like any of these, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go with my boys at Nottingham Forest.
All right.
It's gonna be my pick.
Like, obviously, by going by the odds, you would say the Wolves at home against Tottenham, but I don't like it. I think Tottenham's
I don't like it either.
Kill them, man. I think they're just gonna demolish them. Just who could pull a shock upset here? Maybe Fulham at Aston Villa. You know what? I picked the Brentford-Liverpool draw. I'm picking Brentford.
Roll with it. I thought about it. That's a good pick.
All right, so I got the Brentford. I got Brentford, and you got Nottingham.
Okay, we both talked about it. We both think Tottenham are going to roll in this Wolves matchup. They're plus 120 to win. I feel like we got to hit that.
Yeah.
Plus 120. They give me that all day. I think they win this. I don't care how undermanned they are. I think we're getting better odds because of all the red cards and injuries that they have. But I still think they're going to win. And so do you.
Yeah.
So let's definitely hit that one.
That's on the list for sure.
Arsenal, terrible odds. Minus 500 to win. It's not worth betting that one. Crystal Palace Everton is basically a coin flip. I think it should be a coin flip. I don't feel confident really.
I feel like it's not a
smart
one. I feel like it's not a smart one to bet on.
I'm gonna stay away from that. We did talk about the over under. It's at 2.5.
Ooh, that's where we could see some bets.
They know. That's a low number too.
That's a low number though. If that was like 2.75 or 3.
Yeah.
If it was 3 for sure, I would do it because 3 goals you get your money back.
And you're not even getting plus odds, which is crazy.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, they know. Everyone knows it's going to be a brutal match. Man United minus 290 at Luton Town. Again, not the greatest odds, but
it's not the greatest. But that's in the range of like parlaying with maybe another favorite and getting back to even odds.
They can't bite you, can they? Can Man United below that? There's no way. There's no way.
I'm going to throw them down as a potential favorite parlay that we could throw in with another favorite that we like.
So the next one is Newcastle on the road at Bournemouth is a favorite at minus 145. We both like that one. Bournemouth has just been in shambles lately.
That's a potential one there.
Villa minus 175 at home for Fulham. We both liked Villa in that one. Brighton minus 420, so those are huge odds. Probably won't be betting that one. Liverpool minus 235 at home.
I would want closer to even, man. I think Brentford's going to give them.
That's a scary one. I think that's a stay away for me with that number.
Yeah.
West Ham minus 115. What did you pick on the West Ham game against Nottingham Forest?
3-1 West Ham. I picked 3-1 West Ham.
I think that's one we can maybe pair with something because I like them in that one as well.
Okay.
And then we already talked about it. Man City on the road for Chelsea minus 140. I mean, that's probably the lowest number we're going to get for Manchester City on the whole season.
We got to hit that one for sure.
I'm taking that every day of the week. So like even like pairing like the two Manchester teams in a parlay, does I give you the even odds? I feel like that's got to be a winner.
So Man U, Man City.
Yeah.
It's plus 131, so about even odds.
Yeah. How do you not win that bet?
Yeah, we got to do that. Okay, we'll add that one. And then what was the other parlay we're doing? We're doing Man U and West Ham.
And then Tottenham. We like Tottenham. For whatever. We can parlay it or do it solo. I'm cool with it.
So we got Man City straight up. Then we'll do the Man City to win. Man U to win. Parlay. It's 290 plus 131. And then we got West Ham Man U would be plus 151. Plus 151. Then you like to putting Tottenham with who? Man City?
Honestly, with anybody, I feel most confident with Tottenham.
Man City is at pretty close to even odds.
I know, it's awesome. Like, I feel like we should throw Man City in a lot of stuff. Maybe that's dumb to put them in too many. Like, dude, Villa is a slam dunk. Minus 175. They're gonna win. I feel like that should be. I feel like they should be like minus 400 to win.
You want to throw Villa in? Okay.
Yeah, give me Villa with something. I feel like Villa's a lock, Man City's a lock, Man United's a lock, and Tottenham is a good bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for plus odds, that's a good bet. Maybe we throw Newcastle at Bournemouth. Or you scared about that one?
I'm okay with that. I don't think Bournemouth can beat anybody.
Yeah, Newcastle, because they're at close to even odds too, minus 145. That gets us. So Newcastle to win is minus 145. Roped in with Villa to win. Where are we at, Villa? That'll get us to plus 166. I'm cool with that. I feel like we should throw a flyer. I know it was the pick I made, but to see almost over plus 400 odds for a draw with Brentford and Liverpool, pretty high draw odds, and we don't even need them to like get an upset and win. It's almost the same odds as them winning just to pick a draw.
It is plus 420 is pretty. Yeah, okay.
I would be cool throwing like $10, not the full amount, but like $10 on that.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That is
plus 420.
I feel like the over-unders they've kind of figured out the over-unders. I feel like there's less opportunity in them as there used to be.
I'm trying to think, is there any games you think will be very high scoring?
Not really. Like, I feel like they're all right where they should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all. Yeah, nothing.
Maybe the West Ham Nottingham Forest, but I don't feel confident about it. I'd rather keep the bets that we have. I really like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're probably right. That's probably the only one I would look at, because even just 3 goals, like a 2-1 score, would actually win you money, but only half you would make pretty small odds on that. So I say we steer clear of those. I like what we got.
Yeah,
we got
I like
a few
that
fun
too.
parlays mixed together. We got a couple straight ups, and we got the long shot draw bet, which could pay off.
Yeah,
for
we'll
us,
see.
So.
That'll be. I mean, that's our biggest odds right there. I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's smart bets. I like it.
Yeah, we're not going too crazy, but I feel like they're all pretty solid. I'd be shocked if we don't win at least half of these.
Yeah, I think we turn it around from last week and get positive this week.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right, man.
Dude. Hour and 20 minutes. Felt like 15. Felt like 15.
Like all right, dude.
All right, I'll call you bright and early on Saturday so we can watch Crystal Palace and
so
Everton
we can just
duke it out.
Take in with our own eyes the beauty of hardcore Premier League soccer. All right, man.
All right, I'll see you next week. Cheers.